They'd be smiling as much, and they'd be wearing their sunglasses as opposed to chewing them.
Absolutely.
But each to their own.
There's only 4 players left here as well.
That's it, 4 players to go. So weak hands, 10-handed, actually, when there's only 4 of you left, ace-8's very powerful. From Mr. El Sayed, who has got an 8-2 of hearts. Now, that is about as bad a starting hand as you can get. He may like the fact that they're both hearts. And it looks as though he is going to have a little investment. In a way, he'd be better off raising rather than calling, but he has just called, wants to see a flop.
Call.
Sam call. We are now heads up.
Now, again, all this posturing across the table. Is he leaning back? Is he leaning forwards? These are all little things you can pick up on, how confident somebody is. Well, 2 hearts there for El Sayed. He's first to bet. He's out of position. But that is about as good as he could have expected with ace-2. Just checking it. So I would have liked to see him have a go at that as he's passing the initiative over to Kang.
35,000.
Ben bet 35,000.
And Kang, as we can see, is not going to be shy about putting chips in. So suddenly Sayed is playing catch-up. Now, one alternative here would be to actually move all in or make a very hefty raise. And if he represents a king or king 3, maybe king 7,
Call.
it would be impossible for Kang to call. Well, he just makes the flat call. So we will see a turn card. Again, jigging about a bit. He doesn't look that relaxed, so hopefully Kang will be picking up on that.
Check. Quick check from Ben. Here comes the river. The river's jacks of spade.
And it isn't a heart, so El Sayed, I'm afraid, has missed by a country mile.
100,000. Bet 100,000.
Sam bet 100,000.
Well, he can only win by bluffing, and that is what he's doing. He's putting in a nice hefty bet, nearly the pot size. He's put an extra 100,000. So Kang, whew. And I think Sayed has been a little bit nervous throughout this hand. He's been leaning back. He didn't bet significantly until the river. I like the way he's thinking about it. A lot of players just make quick decisions. They'll say, oh, I'm going to raise, I'm going to fold. He's actually thinking about it. You've got to put it through. He's not just thinking about this card. He's thinking about how he played the entire hand. And, of course, how he's played every other hand he's seen El Sayed play.
You want me to call?
What do you think?
I'm not sure. That's what I'm asking you. I mean,
Let me think about it.
okay. I call.
Okay, call.
He's called.
100,000.
I call anyways.
He calls.
Now, that is, you see, an astonishing read. I love that from Kang. He just read this guy like a book, like a copy of Razzle. It was so easy, and the guy can't believe it. Claps the table, and we get the fist pump there from Kang, and why not?
I just give me 100,000. I call.
Nice call. Very nice call.
Ben wins the pot with S-I.
Wow.
Wow, was that, I mean, luck or frustration for being in that position, or simply a great read?
I think you have to put that down as a first-class read. Any professional in the world, even the best players in the world, Phil Ivey, Howard Lederer, they would have been proud of that. To actually look at the guy, and the best thing about it was he took his time.
Yeah.
He put it through the computer and he worked out that the guy was on a busted flush draw and called, you know, for 100,000 chips. That's not small potatoes.
Let me ask you, Grub, what's the best read you've ever made?
Well, I make great reads all the time, of course, but it's important to realise that great reads aren't made in isolation. You can't just play one hand and make a great read. It comes from watching a player for 2 or 3 hours. And I play online a lot. I made one last night that I was very, very proud of. There was a guy who was raising, he was bullying, he had a chip stack, and a flop came down, and I had bottom pair, which was just a pair of 5s, and he came out with a big bet, and I knew, just then some super poker god told me that the guy had something like a king 7,
right,
and he'd missed it completely. So I re-raised him. Fun enough, he did call me. Next card came down, I pushed it all in, and he folded. So it's just that sometimes you...
How much did you get?
Well, I didn't actually win any money in that tournament, but I won a significant amount of chips there and made me feel puffed up with pride for a moment. The good thing about poker is, and when you get a read on someone, is you have to trust your instincts. You mustn't be afraid to shove it in. If you lose, you lose. But you know what? If you lose, at least you're getting an education.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was how to read players. Join us after the break where we'll be taking you through how to play heads-up poker.